still got some more details on this, on these batteries here. Is I'm going to put them like a square, put them in series. So this will be my my negative and my positive. So basically, this is kind of how I plan on having them up. So it'll link in, and then this will be my positive terminal, and this will be my negative terminal going up to my bus blocks, which I should expect here today. I'm hoping to get those. So I'm just going to do a quick test of voltages as shipped from the manufacturer. So I haven't touched them yet. I'm just going to test them out, see what I get. All right. Put them on DC. $13.1. 13.1, 13.1, 13.1. Pretty consistent. Good. So 13.1 means 40% charged. One thing I learned from the manual was that the regulations say they can't ship lithium batteries or these LiFePO PO4 batteries without them being, or they can't be shipped at full charge. So they have to be shipped at lesser 30 to 50% charge. So it looks like they picked 40% because in their little rate table that they included, it shows what the voltage level gives you an indication of where the charge level is. So that means that at 52 volts, I know I'm still at 30% charge, whereas right now my voltage goes down below 40. 40 and the 47s, and I know that that's too low with the old lead acids. So I'm excited about the lithium batteries. It means my voltage should be a little bit higher, more consistent throughout the band of the use. And then things like my fridge, which has a lower tolerance to the lower voltage, I'm pretty sure that will actually act better under the lithium batteries than the lead acid batteries that I had. So maybe just to close off, one last thought is that why did I pick lithium batteries from Ampere time? I don't know a lot about them. I'm not a battery expert, and I didn't want to invest into something that was like the Battleborns were just really expensive, and I don't know the difference in terms of where they're all made in China. So like they can claim marketing rights from the different batteries, sure. It comes with a 5-year warranty from Ampere time. So to me that was like, okay, well it's got a 5-year warranty if there's a problem with it. And then the feedback on the Amazon site was very good. It was 4.5 out of like 2,000 orders or something like that. So it was predominantly positive, and a lot of good feedback about people that have installed it. So I said, well, let's try it out. And it can do up to 4 serial and 4 parallel. So like that's a significant amount of wattage, so I can grow it as I need it. And so I think it's going to fit the bill all right. So I said, well, for the price point, it was cheaper than the Battleborns, and it was getting close to what I can make it for myself without having to put the labor in. I get a warranty, and like I said, they look good from the border. And also, I watched, I can't remember his name, Will Pruce, I think is what it is. He's got a channel, and he did an unboxing, and he tore the thing apart with a grinder, and compared it to other things, and he kind of showed how it was put together. And I said, well, it looked decent. He had some decent feedback for the price, so I said, okay, let's give it a try. And then, if it works out well, I'll buy another 4 and I'll get myself up to 200 amp hours, because I'd like to be more than that, maybe even 300. So I've got room now, actually, where it is to put 3 banks in, actually, now that I've kind of scoped it out. I've even got room in the side, and 23 pounds each. They're very light. So I've got a way to put, at least 12 of these batteries here in my boat if I wanted to. So I'll start with 4, and we'll see how it goes. do. This was, I never finished this cabin here, the quarter berth fully. This is all going to be fiberglassed in. And then I want to fix the fiberglass over at the end. So this is this year's work. It's the interior work that I want to finish over the summer. So what I plan on doing here is I just want to cut an access panel into the other side. So I'm going to drill myself a couple of holes, roughly where I think the lines are, because I was going by the wood. So I have wood here. It looks like one here. So I'm going to see if I can cut a panel access right there. And then what I plan on doing is drilling a couple holes, seeing how they line up on the other side. And then I'm going to use the hole saw to cut myself some nice circles. I'll measure out the top where it's going to go. That way I have kind of like a rounded door that matches all my other doors. Alright, and I got a couple more here. It's been a while since I made this panel, so I'm basically just checking for where the beams are. And there's already a line along the bottom of it where the, I guess the base of the quarter berth bed wood pushes up against the wall. So I'm just drilling a couple of holes to make sure that I can see kind of where my edge boundaries are. And I'm going to double check it on the other side of the panel and then cut the holes out. I'm just going by the inside of the beam, and then same with here. Be about there. So I can see here that I've got all kinds of room. This is the batteries, so they'll probably be right at the head level of the batteries right there. But I am going to have to drill out to the other side to kind of show where the max headspace is on this side, and then I'll cut out the hole from the other side. So basically I come in at the same level on the other side. So I think if I start with this corner, I'll be all right. And then the other thing I noted was I can go down lower. So I'm going to use that as my top line. There's a line here. Basically the top of this is where my my plywood goes. So I don't want to be, I can be just kind of like right at the plywood on this side, so I think this will be fine. Cordless is great until its batteries die. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Alright, so I'm through. So I didn't actually hit the beam going up right here, the post. So now I just gotta go to the other outside and do that. This is awkward, isn't it? At least I can get in here. With my battery tray before I was out here, I couldn't actually get in here, especially to inspect the quadrant behind me. I'm just going to use my level. Okay. Right there, I think. So right about just over that line. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Alright, so I'm going to finish the rest of it from the other side, because it's just too awkward here. There's my batteries, will be right there. I mean, I probably could crawl in there if I had to in emergency. That window's big enough. And I did have one brace here that I had to go through. And I'm right along the edge, so I probably should just trim this little piece here. You can see here I've got a little crooked at the top. So I'll just give that little piece of trim. And that's it. 70 kilometers. What's that? 40 miles an hour? Something like that. It's windy. Okay, I'm just going to check on a couple of the fiberglassing pieces I did last night. Hopefully they turned out all right. Let's take a look. Yeah, at least they stayed up. Here. So I just wedged this in here, basically to keep this up. Nice. So basically right here, this piece didn't have any screw hole in, so I'm going to do the same up here because I don't have a way to screw it in. So this one's tight by nature of the other screws, but my beam was over here, and just the way that I ran out of pieces, and the way I cut it, I wanted to put a little bit of a bridge piece. So this is holding on nicely here, and yeah. So now when I'm going to put a larger piece over top when I finish off this one here. So let's go check the other one out. Super awkward. How I got in here. So this is what working on the boat's all about. We're a little bit close, but I did the same thing here. This one here was just a bit close, so I'm still going to have to do the top one. There's another wire here. So I'm just using contractor garbage bags. Some people use peel ply, but I find this works just as good. So that looks pretty good. So basically this is just one 17-ounce biaxial cloth, and I just put the pressure on it with the contractor plastic on top, and it's perfectly smooth. And then this is nice and flat now. It was sticking out before. I had a bit of a bend in this corner of this one, just like this one here, sticking up a little bit. So basically I pressed it in, and that's really strong, so it's going to be totally glued in place and not moving. So on to the next project. Hey guys, so just the update here. I picked up some 1 gauge wire, and I decided to make my own jumper cables. And what I have here is a crimp tool. And you basically put it in the ends, the lug ends, in the crimp tool into the wire, and then you hammer it with this tool. But I'm just using it in the vise and making my own wires. So I'm basically just doing this because I just didn't want to have big long wires that were kind of running everywhere. So I just wanted them cut to fit. I'm going to make 3 wires right now to get hooked up. And then tomorrow, when I get my electricals kind of run, I plan on getting my measurements made for the next few pieces of wire that I need, and then I'm going to make some more. So I got myself some 1 gauge by 5/16 lugs, and these are marine grade stainless, or not steel, but marine grade lugs. That's what they're made for. So I'm going to just trim about, you can kind of see where this goes in and gets tight. So I'm going to trim just over about a ½ inch off of each one of these of the rubber jacket. And I'm not pressing too far. I'm just kind of scouring the edge. And then I'm breaking it. That way I actually don't cut any of the wire. Yeah, that's perfect. I can feel it touching the end. The way that this works is it's got a bit of a spring load in it, but all I'm going to do is just use the vise to press it. When you're hammering it, they say hammer until there's like it feels solid, but I have the same here on the vise. It's basically, you can kind of feel the point where it's not really moving anymore. Okay, that's definitely it right there. So there's the crimp it makes. It's definitely solid. It's not moving. So the last step I'm going to do is just snip a couple of heat shrinks and give them a quick heating. My 3 cables I got finished, didn't take very long. And just to give an example of the difference between 4 gauge and 1 gauge. So this is 4 gauge, sorry. This is 1 gauge. It's a huge difference between the 2 cables. So I looked everywhere for wire, trying to figure out like what's the best deal and whatnot, and I found these 1 gauge jumper cables for 60 bucks. They were on sale, and they're actually jumper cables. I took the ends off, but those are 1 gauge wire. The cheapest that I could find that was nice and flexible was $89 on Amazon, and these were $69. So $20 cheaper, and I picked them up at the local store. So 69 bucks versus 89, and then I had to wait. I just went and picked them up. So I think this was about the best deal I could find on wire, and that's 2 lengths of 25 feet. So that was 50 feet of wire for $69. Well, it is. Temperature's just not good to work on fiberglass, so I'm going to abandon this. I got 1 line done here and down at the bottom, and it just keeps falling off. It's just not warm enough, I think. So the fluid's not, what do they call that, like dynamic enough? Or, I don't know. So anyways, every time I touch this thing, I end up pulling the ones that I've applied here, and I got like the bottom corner is supported nicely, so that one's fine, but I'm trying to go up the wall here, and it's just not working out as well. So I need a warmer day, and I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to get this one piece in, which will be under where my electricals are, and then I'm hoping I have less to take off when in the summertime, or once I get in the water and it warms up a little bit, because like I said, this is just it's not pliable enough. It's a bit cold. I think it's +6 today, and we're going to get rain. Well, I've been doing fiberglass for a while, so I've kind of gotten used to it. I'm not really explaining very much. Basically, you wet the material first, both the what you're fiberglassing, and that's why it's kind of wet up here. So basically you wet the material first, then you wet the fiberglass when you put it on. I find that easier. So I wet the back side of it, and then I use the roller here to try just to keep it flat and get any of the air bubbles out that are in there. And this does usually a good job of that. But you can take your time with it, and it will lay flat. You just got to be patient. It doesn't lay flat right away because the material has to absorb the epoxy. And once it absorbs the epoxy, it will lay down. Even though it might take a while, you've got some time to work with it. You don't need to be in a panic. So now that I've got that piece in, I pretty much can screw the board that goes on the top where my electricals are going to go. So that's where like the DC-DC converter, my bus blocks, and then my servo now is going to go down underneath here. That's the Servo GX, the brains of Victron. And then I'm going to have an HDMI display up on the back here so I can see what my power consumption is at any time. So that's kind of the goal. I might even put it inside here, that way I can at least see it without having to go out if it's raining, and kind of still see and keep an eye on. I haven't quite thought where I want to put the display, but somewhere where I can see it from up there and here. Alright, just letting that fiberglass dry. So I'm coming over here and going to be installing these circuit breakers. I didn't have them last year, and I wanted to get them, just, I don't know, less track time and things, but essentially I want, these are 30 amp breakers, and they're good for up to 72 volts. They're made by Glosco, and they're waterproof. And what I plan on doing is running my solar panels into the circuit breaker for the positive side prior to going into the battery. So that way if there's ever like a lightning strike and something shorts out and it comes down in more amps for some reason, it will protect the controller, because this thing can do 35 amps anyways. I'm only ever going to have about 10 amps of current anytime, maybe 12 max. So this is 30, so it's quite a big significant amount more. I don't plan on putting any more solar panels on at this time. I've got room for potentially 2 more, so I can bring it up to 1,000 watts, but 800 watts I think is going to be fine. So I've got my solar controller up here, and I'm just going to move it. I'm going to bring my my solar up here, my cabling, so I need to put a couple of pieces of wood up top here. I don't know if you can see the camera like that, but basically up here there's nothing. So I'm going to run my wiring up here for the cables. That way they're out of the way. Attach my wiring so it runs down into here, and then I just need a short little hookup to go to here from the breaker, and then on the other side of it I'll put the other breaker to make sure that it doesn't come out faster to my batteries than 30 amps. Okay. So just a couple more screws to put in, and I think those are good. Basically I just want to get this side epoxied in today, and then that's the goal. So it's not exactly the most comfortable location to be working, and but I'm going to just break this down into small squares so it's not overbearing. So I wet the material first, both sides of the the wall of where I'm putting this. And then I wet the back side of the material. This is the biaxial cloth, so it's like a mesh on one side. It's like, or matte, I think they call it. So it's like the threads are every which way. And then on this side, the threads are stitched together with another straight cloth, so that way you get kind of like uniform strength one way and the other way is disuniform. So this is actually really strong material. So this is going to go here. When you wet the top of the fiberglass, it does leak through or soak through eventually. Takes a while, so you can see here it's getting darker and it's a little bit lighter on this side. It's because I just didn't have as much epoxy on the back side of it. Material too. Alright. And when I go with my F26 compound, the F26 compound, I just give a light sanding everywhere there's a gap, but I have a little bit of overlap here. And then I just sand it afterwards so it all looks nice and flat. Yeah. And I can't get how windy it is. Okay, so I need a piece right there. What I'm doing is, this is how I did this block. Basically, put some contractor garbage bag here, and then shove that in place. So a couple ways to do that is to screw it in, which I may end up doing. Yeah, or put the leverage pole on it. That's pretty tight. I think that's good. Let's wipe this down now. Stay down. And that's about it. So this will hold it in place, and when it hardens it'll be nice and flat and flush with the wall beside it, so it won't be sticking out anymore. And yeah, I'm getting pretty close to being done. I'm going to have to let this dry, I think, and work on something else. I'm making epoxy glue. And I don't want to, what do you call it, breathe in the silica powder. A little bit more. I don't know if you can hear me, but I like it more like peanut butter, not like mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is too thin. And if you look at it, I've already epoxied this side, so I'm going to use that side as my glue down. I'm going to epoxy this over later, and I just want to get it first on the wall. Be able to do that with a clamp, actually. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to put a clamp on it. Okay. Thanks for watching. It's an adventure on Dan's boat. Sorry, it's a little windy. I can see the camera just shaking. know the boat's 12,000 pounds, but still, this is windy. Even the boat behind, you can see it moving. There's a big storm just south of us, but it's coming this way. So I'm gonna keep going here. Hopefully I can get this done before the rain flies in.